is Rishi Sunak actually going to make a decision? What is he doing as Prime Minister? He's been taken to the point, over, as the book details, over 7 years. He came into the party. People were told 7 years ago he is going to be Prime Minister, he's going to be Chancellor first, 7 years ago. But he's never made a decision since he got there because these people have taken him there and they control him. And even now, today, he still didn't get to make the decision over who was going to be in his cabinet. William Hague's just done it. So what is the point of having Rishi Sunak as Prime Minister? Why don't we have William Hague? Or why don't we have Douglas Smith? These people who, make all the decisions. Rishi Sunak doesn't make the decisions. He doesn't move without, first of all, Dougie Smith saying he can, or making a decision unless Dougie Smith approves it.
So isn't it weird then that, Esther's a former colleague, both in Parliament and at GB News, Esther McVeigh, that they actually called a position or briefed that a position was the Minister for Common Sense. Surely that should sort of be the essence of the entire government. You have one person who can check that we have common sense in this government.
Do you know, I just want to say I love Esther. And, she's from Liverpool and we're fellow Scousers. But honestly, it's such a cynical appointment. It's like, everyone's going to criticise us for just handing a job to, an old Etonian who wants to have his reputation rehabilitated. So I know the antithesis to that the argument against that will be, let's pop a northern girl with a Liverpool accent into cabinet, give her no portfolio or no responsibilities whatsoever, but just let's pop her in. And anyone who says, we can say, well, look, Esther McVeigh, who was educated, by the way, at a private school, Blue Coats private school in Liverpool, let's just pop her into the cabinet because that's the counter-argument to the posh boys. It's just so cynical, and I'm sure Esther has seen through that as well. But, I don't blame Esther for taking it. OK, I'm going to say something that I recall from meeting you for the first time, and it was on the House. It won't be important to you, but it's stuck in my mind. It's kind. Don't worry. We're on the House of Commons terrace. It was 2010. I can't remember how you ended up chatting to me, but I just got in. I said, I don't really know what I'm doing. And you said, if you ever want any advice, feel free to ask me. And I was like, but we're in different parties. And you said this to me. You took me aside and you went, there's something bigger in here than political parties, and that's women. Which is great. But is that true? Is there sisterhood? Are you yeah. And I think for women, politics is difficult. And it was harder in our days. So I came in 2005, Gloria. So I'd been through 2005 to 2010, which was, it was like being back in the dinosaur days. And I realised that as a woman, it's 10 times worse because your opinion was completely disregarded. You were totally spoken over. It was just shocking. And I realised that honestly, Gloria, I've said this, and I know feminists think it's a terrible thing for me to say, but I wouldn't want any of my daughters becoming MPs. I would not want them working in that place. I want them to work in organisations where they can have a chance at being equals and know that their opinion is heard. And that's what I want for my girls. I don't want my girls to go into an environment like Westminster, which is toxic. It is a toxic environment. It's full of unpleasant people. You know that. I know that. There are a lot of unpleasant people. There are good people as well, but they are drowned out by the machinations and the game playing and the plotting of those who are bad people, which really is, highlighting a few of those people is what my book's about.
Some of the things that you'd been told by the interviewees that you spoke to about in the book that happened in your party, an MP having sex on a billiards table with a prostitute while other MPs watched, an MP who I assume is still an MP who you were told gave a young woman a rape drug who faced no sanction and went on to is this true? Is there any evidence? Because these are really serious things.
Oh, yeah, it's true. I saw the police report. It's true.
Is this a sitting MP?
Yeah.
You've seen a police report?
Yeah.
And is this the one who gave the woman...
I'm not going to go into conversations about it, Gloria, because it's...
But there are two anecdotes. There's one where MPs watched...
Yeah.
And there's another one about an MP who gave a young woman a date rape drug.
Yeah.
And you've seen one of those police reports?
Yeah.
And that's as much as you're going to say, that's fine, but you know that...
That's as much as I can say on that one, given the information I've been given since the book came out.
OK.
But I actually saw the... I know people have said, why is she sitting on information like that to sell her book? Why didn't she go to the police about it? I got the information from the book because I saw the police report. Yeah, it's already in action.
Are you allowed to tell me if the person in question is still an MP?
Yes.
They are.
Yeah. And the thing about that case, which is utterly shocking, is that my party were aware of what he'd done, and he wasn't even given a rap on the knuckles. But then what he went on to do was to abuse and rape other women. So that's the, you know, a sexual, and, you know, Gloria, he was a sexual predator, and we know that Westminster is a place that seems to attract those kind of people, and they are everywhere. And, you know, when this woman was advised that she should go to the police, well, yes, but that's a very difficult thing for someone to do in the workplace, to take somebody else to the police, you know? And there should have been some kind of mechanism where that MP was hauled into, and the government or my party or whoever also called the police to say, we need to make you aware that we have received this complaint. And the police would have said, we need to speak to the woman in question. Absolutely right. But she would have felt some protection and some support if the party had also reported him to the police. Whether or not the police could take action on the party's complaint is a different issue, and I know that's a more technical issue, but at least that young woman would have felt that the party was on her side, and the party had an obligation, both morally, I think, and criminally, to do that. And they didn't. And Gloria, we've got to say, I know, it's in both parties.
Oh, of course.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So final question. You've said you wouldn't want your daughters to go in there. We both went in there. We saw it for what it is. There's some good people. There's some bad people. There's some bad things that happen in there. Is there anything, if you had a magic wand question, we could clean up politics by doing this? Is there anything we can do?
Oh, God, it's a big question, isn't it? So one of the issues is, I think the biggest problem is, it's politics itself, you know, it's the pursuit of power, and it corrupts. And I have seen in the research for the book to what extent it corrupts. And there needs to be an overarching theme of decency, high standards, morals. Those overarching themes need to be what people use as their guiding light in politics. You know, is it moral? Is this decent? Are we reaching standards that the public expect of us? And if the answer is yes, then we're getting somewhere towards addressing how these problems occur within this vacuum. But at the moment, there is none of that. You know, we've got an immoral party which has abandoned all pretense at decency. And yeah, that's what's got to change.
Nadine Dorries, the only regret I have about this interview is that it is not twice as long. To quote the former Prime Minister at your book launch last night, go Nads. It has been a pleasure, and it's a great read. Nadine Dorries, thank you.
Oh, thank you, Gloria.